So for this video, I will be showing how we can use the concatenate function to combine two separate strings of text together. And for this example, we will be working in the concatenate sheet tab, so make sure you have this sheet selected. So our goal within the concatenate column is to combine the first name and the last name into one cell. So we can click inside this cell and type in equals concatenate. And we can read here that this function joins several text strings into one text string. So if we insert this function, and then all we have to do is select the cells that contain the strings that we want to combine. So we want to combine the first name, comma, and then for our second argument, we can select our second cell, B2. And then we can close parentheses. So we are combining cell A2, Kelly, with B2, Adams. And if we click enter, our function returns Kelly, Adams, and one cell. Well, currently, there is no space between Kelly and Adams. And if we want the first name and last name separated by a space, we can go back to this formula, and instead of having our last name being the second argument within our formula, we can add a new argument between the first name and last name. So up here in our formula, right after the first comma, we can type in open quotes, then hit the spacebar on your keyboard, then close quotes, and then comma, and now B2 is our third argument for our last name. So now our formula is reading A2, which is the first name, then space, and then B2, which is the last name. And if we click enter, now we have a space between the first name and the last name. And then we can fill this formula down to make sure it works for the rest of the cells, and everything looks good. Now another way to combine values from different cells is using the ampersand sign. Let me show you. If we click the first cell underneath our heading column, and let's make this cell say, Kelly Adams, please register by this date. And to do that, we can start off by typing in the equal sign. Then we can select D2, because we are starting with the name Kelly Adams. Now instead of using concatenate, we can just type in the ampersand sign, and then open quotes, and then a space to separate the strings of text, and then we can type in please register by, and then another space, close quotes, and now we are trying to combine the date at the end of this sentence. So whenever you're combining, you have to use the ampersand sign, and then we can select the date. And if we click enter, we get Kelly Adams, please register by 44/140. Well, that doesn't look like the date value, but remember in Excel, date values are stored as numeric values. So this is actually a good time to introduce the text function. And let me show you what that does. If we come back to our formula, and right before C2, we can insert the text function. And we can see that the text function converts a value to text in a specific number format. So for this case, we are going to take our date value, convert it to text, but we can specify the number format that we want this value converted to. So let's see what our arguments are. If we put open parentheses, for our first argument is the value that we want to convert, which is the date, cell C2. So that's already in there. Then after that, we can put a comma. Now we can specify how we want this text formatted. So let's say that we want this date value to show as a 3-letter month, and then a 2-digit day and a 4-digit year. Well, what we need to do is put open quotes, then MMM for month, comma, DD for day, space, YYYY for the year, then close quotes, and then close parentheses. Now if we click enter, our cell says, Kelly Adams, please register by November 5th of 2020. So you can combine text values with date values by using the concatenate function or putting in the ampersand signs, and then using the text function to convert our date values to text. And then if we fill this formula down, Now we get the full name of each person and the date that they have to register by. And this can be a great tool to use because let's say in our heading column, we will use this combined value for the subject line in emails. Or you can use the concatenate function for any other purpose you may have. But it's definitely important to know how to use, just in case you run into a scenario where you have to take multiple values from different cells and combine them together to get them in one cell.